A fractured molar sent a 33-year-old man through the doors of Hanazono Dental Clinic, his jaw on fire. The receptionist's practiced smile tightened when he produced a standard insurance card.
An emergency slot? With this card? You can't be serious?
Doctor, Asuka held the card up like evidence, her voice carrying through the full waiting room.
Public health line, that way. We don't waste chairs on bottom-tier plans.
Kazuya's jaw locked, not from the fracture, but from the weight of 40 words in a room of 12 strangers. A patient in the corner whispered to her husband. A mother pulled her child closer. Kazuya stood, his knuckles white against the armrest, and left without a sound. He was 3 blocks away before he realized his hand was still pressed to his cheek. The crack in the molar had been matched by a crack in something else, something that would not show on an X-ray. Kazuya let himself into the apartment. The ice pack was already in the freezer, right where it had been every day this month. A small shape in pajamas padded out of the hallway. His daughter's voice was still thick with sleep.
Just a long day. Go back to sleep, little one.
By 8 the next morning, he was stepping into the glass tower of Kazuya Capital. The weight of the night still lodged in his jaw. On his private desks sat a folder that had been waiting 3 months for his attention. Acquisition complete. 14 clinics, Tokyo metropolitan area. Roll-up executed last quarter. Managing partner signature, K. Kazuya. He turned the page. Dr. Asuka's name sat on the payroll roster, neatly under the same authorization she'd never once examined.
So this is mine. And she's been signing my name every month without ever looking.
He closed the folder with a snap that was quieter than his pulse. The cracked tooth throbbed, but it was no longer the worst thing inside him. Somewhere across the city, a dentist was still scratching his name onto forms, completely ignorant that the man she'd publicly discarded was now holding the entire apparatus above her head. Kazuya pressed the intercom, his voice flat. "Akira, bring the Hanazono operational file."
You wanted the Hanazono file, Kazuya-san. It's been dormant for 3 months.
Pull every patient complaint from the last 18 months. Flag any mention of insurance. I want it by Friday.
That's 14 clinics worth of data. Are we looking for something specific?
A pattern. That's all.
Akira didn't ask why. He'd learned that Kazuya's calm voice hid reasons that eventually shook the floor. Across the city, Dr. Asuka was in the middle of another intake, her tone indistinguishable from the day before.
This plan again? You people really think this covers anything but a checkup. Wait 2 hours or don't wait at all.
In the treatment room next door, the hygienist Nanis was quietly pressing a cold pack against the cheek of an elderly woman who'd been waiting for 40 minutes.
The swelling should go down soon. Don't worry about the wait. I'll take care of you myself.
Friday morning, Akira laid the audit report on Kazuya's desk. The cover sheet was marked urgent in stern red ink. Hanazono Dental Group, 23 complaints flagged. 12 site insurance tier discrimination. Dr. Asuka's clinic accounts for 19.
19 complaints. And I was just the one who didn't file.
It's concentrated. Should we flag Dr. Asuka for a disciplinary review?
Number. This isn't about one dentist. I want the system changed. Draft a group-wide intake policy. No mention of insurance tier during triage. Patients are triaged by need, not by the card in their wallet. Effective immediately.
Akira typed the memo exactly as dictated. By noon, it was in the email queue of every Hanazono clinic manager. Kazuya watched the send confirmation appear on his screen. The weight in his jaw had not lessened, but the shape of the next move had become clear.
This will make noise, but the real change will need a voice inside the clinic. Someone who already cares.
14 clinics, 1 policy, and a hygienist named Nanase had just entered the orbit of his unfinished business. The email landed in Asuka's inbox at 12:03 p.m. She opened it with coffee in hand, already rolling her eyes.
Insurance cannot be referenced during triage? Who wrote this? Some first-year compliance intern.
She clicked print, carried the sheet to the break room corkboard, and pinned it with a fluorescent pushpin. right next to a cartoon of a tooth holding a sign. By the afternoon intake, she was still sorting patients by the color of their insurance logo. Nothing had changed.
You again? Same card, same line I gave the last one. I'm not burning a chair on a routine cleaning.
The patient shuffled out. From the treatment bay doorway, Nanase had been watching the whole exchange.
Dr. Asuka, the policy says we should avoid insurance language right now. Maybe I could help redraft the intake script.
Nanas, stick to cold packs and polishing. Policy is for bureaucrats who've never run a real clinic.
Nana said nothing more. Her hands, which had soothed dozens of patients, hung useless at her sides against a system anchored by one woman's pride. The new policy was now public, but inside those clinic walls it was tissue thin. And somewhere above, a man was about to start looking through personnel files. Kazuya opened the Hanazono personnel folder. A hygienist's files surfaced near the top. Nana's 28, 3 years tenure, no disciplinary notes. The staff photograph caught him. That face had been the only one that didn't look away when his jaw went cold that afternoon.
She pressed the ice pack against my cheek while Asuka was still laughing. She didn't know me and didn't need to. Akira, contact Nanase at her clinic branch. Tell her we're creating a patient advocate lead position. I want her interviewed this week.
Akira's call reached Nanase during her lunch break, in the clinic's back corridor where the vending machine hummed.
Nanase-san, this is Akira from Kazuya Capital. We've noticed your patient care record. There's a new role, patient advocate lead. Would you sit for an interview?
Me? From headquarters. I am just a hygienist. Why would they? Yes, of course, I'll be there.
She hung up, her pulse keeping time with the question she couldn't ask aloud. Who had noticed her work from so high up, back in the tower? Akira noted the interview time on Kazuya's calendar. No further explanation was asked or given. The machinery of change had begun to hum, unseen by the dentist who still believed every signature was just a formality. Nanas arrived at Kazuya Capital on Tuesday, holding a folder of notes she'd prepared on too little sleep.
What would you change about patient intake if you had the authority?
I'd remove insurance from the first conversation. A person in pain should be seen, not sorted. Patients have walked out because they were shamed. That's not healthcare. It's triage by status.
Akira's pen hadn't moved in a full minute. By the end of her answer, he was only nodding.
Kazuya-san, the interview just ended. She's the one.
Send the offer letter. Patient advocate lead, 2 weeks. I want her voice in every intake protocol.
Asuka had started hearing whispers, staff using words like sensitivity and patient first under their breath.
Is this about that useless policy? Someone's been filling heads with compliance fairy tales.
She had no idea the fairy tale was signed by the same man whose name she stamped each month. Asuka found the internal memo while sorting supply orders. Patient advocate lead. Nanas jumped at her like a personal insult.
She's been poisoning the staff behind my back. This is exactly what happens when you let hygienists think they have a voice.
She grabbed the paper and stormed toward the clinic manager's office, her heels snapping against the linoleum.
What is this? A promotion for the quiet one? Who authorized elevating a hygienist over my intake protocols?
The manager, a small man who feared Asuka's temper, stammered. It came from headquarters directly. I had no say.
Headquarters doesn't know what happens on the ground. This is interference, and I won't have it undermining my clinic.
She slammed the memo onto his desk. The sound echoed through the corridor, and Nanase's, passing by, froze.
She knows, but she can't stop this. It's already bigger than her.
Asuka didn't see Nanase. She was already planning how to strangle the promotion before it took root. The clinic's hallway felt narrower than usual, as if the walls were closing in on the dentist, who still thought she owned the ground she stood on. On Thursday morning, a black sedan stopped in front of Hanazono Dental. Kazuya stepped out in a charcoal suit, his jaw set, the clinic doors ahead.
Finally, a patient who belongs in a decent clinic. I'll handle this personally. Welcome to Hanazono Dental. How can I assist you today, sir?
I am here on behalf of the ownership. A brief walkthrough will suffice.
Of course. I'll show you everything personally. Our hygiene standards are the best in Tokyo.
The policy is pinned like a joke. She hasn't changed a thing.
We run a tight schedule. No time wasted on non-urgent cases. Insurance tier helps filter those for us.
And how do you determine urgency? By pain level or by wallet?
Well, we consider both, of course, but practicality matters.
He thanked her with a nod more frigid than any insult she'd ever delivered. When the door closed, she exhaled, not knowing the real inspection had already ended. Inside the car, Kazuya didn't start the engine. The tour played behind his eyes in flashes. Asuka's voice, the corkboard, and a pair of hands he'd felt before. Minutes earlier, Asuka had gestured toward the waiting room, proud.
We keep the chairs full of the right kind, patients who appreciate prompt service. The lower tier ones rarely wait long. They get the message.
The message. The same one I received. Word for word. She's proud of the system.
Through an open doorway, he had seen Nanazi kneeling by an elderly man who was shaking, whispering about his insurance. She hadn't looked at the card, only at his face.
Sir, the pain is what matters right now. Forget the paperwork. We'll handle it.
Kazuya had stopped walking. Asuka had kept talking, not noticing. The name on the hygienist's badge was the same one now waiting in his personnel file.
That's just Nanas. She'd waste hours on anyone. It's charming, but it's not how you run a profitable clinic.
She's exactly the opposite of what this clinic needs, and she's exactly what will fix it.
He turned the key. The engine hummed, and behind him, the clinic's lights stayed on. Someone was still working. Someone who had just been chosen without knowing it. Back in his office, the city lights had dimmed to a low orange glow. Kazuya didn't switch on the main lamp.
Nanase's offer letter is ready. Once she accepts, the advocate position becomes real.
He signed the digital document with a single tap. The promotion was final. Then he opened a separate file. Personnel notice. Dr. Asuka Hanazono. The cursor blinked on an empty subject line.
This isn't revenge. It's correction. She'll learn, or she'll leave.
Effective immediately. Dr. Asuka is required to complete a 6-month bedside manner certification. Her continued employment with Hanazono Dental Group is contingent on satisfactory completion. His finger hovered over the send button. The weight of the day pressed against the back of his neck.
Number. She'll only understand if it's impersonal. If it comes from the system, not the man.
He clicked. The messages flew into the network, one carrying hope, the other carrying a mirror. Now the clinic would have to choose which message to receive first. The email hit Asuka's tablet at 11:42 p.m. She was already in her silk robe, ready to ignore it until she saw the subject line.
Bedside manner certification. Is this a joke? I've run that clinic for 6 years.
She scrolled to the second message. Nanase's promotion was official. The words patient advocate lead burned on the screen.
That quiet mouse now reports to the regional manager. This is a direct attack on my authority.
She was about to throw the tablet aside when the signature at the bottom caught her eye. K. Kazuya.
Kazuya? I've signed that name 100 times, but I've never seen it like this, with power behind it.
She opened a search browser. Her fingers typed the name as if they already knew the answer. The image loaded. A man in his early 30s, navy blazer, standing in front of Kazuya Capital's logo. The same man who had stood in her waiting room, holding his jaw.
That patient. The lower tier card. I told him to use the public line, and he owns the building.
The tablet hit the floor. The screen stayed lit, but Asuka's expression had turned to stone. The dentist who mocked a man's coverage now knew exactly whose name she'd been signing all along. The next morning, Asuka arrived early, her usual sharp steps replaced by a deliberate gentleness that didn't belong to her.
Good morning, please take a seat. Would you like some water while you wait?
The patient accepted the cup like a prop. Staff exchanged glances that said, "This isn't right."
If he's watching, I have to look reformed. One wrong move, and he'll take even the certification away.
Across the hallway, Nanasi pinned her first official notice. Patient advocate lead. I am here to listen.
From today, intake won't ask about insurance. We'll ask about pain and how long you've been managing it.
By noon, the waiting room felt different. A child with a chipped tooth got a sticker before the chair. An old man was told his wait would be short, not his plan's tier.
She's stealing my clinic, but if I push back, he'll cut me down. Smile. Just smile.
We've had 3 compliments today. One woman said she felt seen for the first time. That's what we're building.
The clinic exhaled into 2 worlds. One built on a genuine ear, the other on a white knuckle grip. And somewhere in the skyline, a man was taking notes. Akira appeared in Kazuya's doorway, tablet in hand. The dentist has been searching your name 7 times in 3 days.
She knows who I am now. Good. That saves time.
He instructed Akira to schedule a formal meeting at the clinic. A policy review, on paper, for Monday morning.
Should I invite the clinic manager as a witness?
Number. This is between the lead dentist and myself. A private room.
The meeting request hit Asuka's tablet at noon. Owner meeting, Monday 10 a.m. Attendance mandatory.
This isn't a review. This is my judgment. He's coming to watch me crumble.
She spent the weekend memorizing scripts for patient satisfaction, but her hands shook on every page.
I can still save this. I'll be everything he wants to see. A model practitioner.
The meeting was set. 1 glass-walled room, 2 people, and 3 months of silence about to break. Monday morning, the glass-walled room felt like an execution chamber. Kazuya was already seated, the audit folder open, his hands still on the table.
Dr. Asuka, please sit. We'll be direct. 19 complaints in 18 months, all citing insurance tier discrimination. Originated from this branch.
Complaints are subjective. I've run a profitable clinic for years. Efficiency is what keeps it open.
Efficiency at the cost of patient dignity is no longer acceptable. I've observed your intake process myself. The complaints match. The insurance policy is mandatory now. No mention of tier at any patient touchpoint. Non-negotiable.
He's reading an execution warrant, dressed as policy. There's no appeal.
Your only option to remain employed is a 6-month bedside manner certification. I believe you'll find it thorough.
The only way out is through his paperwork. He owns the air in this room. Show me where to sign. I'll do it.
The ink dried. Asuka left the glass room without a word, the certification booklet clutched in her hand. By Friday, she was tangled in empathy exercises, her frustration leaking onto the keyboard with every forced apology.
Repeat after the patient. This is humiliating, but I have no choice but to pass.
3 weeks later, Nanase ran the numbers. Patient complaints had dropped by 52% across the branch.
This is real. People are staying, and they're smiling when they leave.
She drafted a progress report to Kazuya Capital, ending with, "I would appreciate a brief in-person meeting to discuss expansion ideas."
She's not asking for permission. She's offering a partnership.
His reply was 1 line. "Coffee, Wednesday at 4, Garden Terrace Cafe."
The same cafe where I used to study. He chose it.
The appointment slipped into his calendar between 2 board meetings. No agenda, just names, and a question neither had asked aloud yet. The Garden Terrace Cafe was quiet at 4, afternoon light catching the rim of Nanase's coffee cup as she waited.
Keizuya-san, thank you for making the time. I know your schedule is tight.
Your numbers earned the time. Tell me what you think the clinic needs next.
It's about trust now. Patients are returning, but we need to train staff to listen, not just triage.
You believe empathy can be taught?
I believe it can be modeled. One hygienist cried because a patient thanked her. That's the culture shift we need.
Kazuya did not answer immediately. For a moment, he only watched the way her hands moved when she spoke.
I'd like to see that for myself. Perhaps I'll visit, unofficially, next time.
I'd like that. Next time, we can talk about the 12 other clinics waiting for this change.
The check stayed on the table a long time. Neither looked at it, or the time. The weeks blurred into a rhythm. Every Wednesday, same table, same 2 cups. They talked about patient flow and dignity, never about what had brought them together.
But one evening, as Nanase flipped through old clinic incident reports on her tablet, a name surfaced. K. Kazuya, complaint never filed. That jaw, that afternoon, the cold pack. It was him, the man Dr. Asuka, humiliated.
At their next coffee, she set the tablet aside and met his gaze. She didn't need to ask the question. He saw it in her expression.
You were the patient. The one who came with a fractured molar and left without treatment.
Yes, I was there to evaluate the clinic as an owner. I didn't expect to be evaluated as a person.
But you chose to change the system, not the dentist. Most men would have done the opposite.
Replacing a person would have been a headline. Changing a policy might save thousands of patients from ever standing where I stood.
His calm wasn't coldness. It was control, and a kind of grace I've never seen.
They sat in a silence that wasn't empty. It was full of understanding. Then Nanase smiled, the way she had that first afternoon with the cold pack. The Hanazono Dental Group's annual gala glittered in a rooftop hall. Staff from 14 clinics gathered under chandeliers, but one chair at the center table held an unfamiliar weight. Kazuya entered alone, his navy blazer sharper than the evening skyline beyond the glass. The room hushed.
He's here. The man who owns this room. And he knows I am still only halfway through my punishment.
After dinner, he rose to speak. No notes, just a microphone and the attention of 200 dental professionals.
This year, we made a choice. Not a financial one, a moral one. We decided that a patient's pain would never again be measured by their insurance card.
Asuka's hand, resting on the tablecloth, curled into a fist. The champagne glass beside her trembled.
I know this personally. A few months ago, I walked into one of our clinics with a cracked tooth, and I was told to leave because of my coverage.
A current of recognition swept the room. Staff exchanged looks. Nanase, seated near the back, didn't move. She only watched Asuka.
He could name me right now, and every person in this room would know it was me.
We are building a system where no one else will ever hear those words again. Because dignity is not a tier, it's a right.
After the speech, Asuka found Kazuya alone on the terrace, the city lights stretching behind him like a cold audience.
Kazuya-san, I need to say this. What I did that day was inexcusable. I humiliated you in front of a room full of people. I've been a dentist who forgot why we exist. I am sorry. Not because you are my boss, but because you were my patient.
Dr. Asuka, your apology is heard, but the policy isn't about you or me. It's permanent because the harm was permanent.
She bowed her head, not the shallow bow of politeness, but the deep, sustained angle of someone who finally understood the weight.
Finish your certification. Show me the same diligence you've shown your clinical work. Prove that the system can produce more than compliance.
He's not forgiving me. He's giving me the chance to earn something that isn't forgiveness. And that's more than I deserved.
Kazuya inclined his head once, a single nod that closed the conversation. Then he returned to the gala, leaving Asuka alone under the stars.
She did it. That took more courage than any procedure. Maybe she can change after all.
Nanase watched from the terrace doorway, her coffee cold in her hand, but her heart warm with the quiet proof that dignity could be taught, and even the proudest could learn. Months passed. The Hanazono Dental Clinic no longer looked like a place that turned people away. The intake forms had no insurance box at all. Inside, Dr. Asuka completed her final certification module with a quiet click. She now led by example, her consults measured and kind.
I spent years treating teeth and ignoring people. These 6 months taught me the opposite.
Dr. Asuka, the regional feedback is in. Your wait times are up, but complaints are at 0. That's a first.
After closing hours, Kazuya and Nanase strolled along the quiet street near the clinic, their conversation easy as old friends.
You changed this clinic from the inside out. The board is still trying to figure out how one hygienist managed that.
They'll never understand. It wasn't a hygienist. It was a patient who had the power and chose not to abuse it.
He didn't reply, just took her hand. It was the first time she realized he'd been waiting to do that for weeks. Through the clinic window, Asuka watched them pass. She didn't feel envy, only a quiet gratitude for a second chance built on policy, not pity. The sign above the door glowed the same teal and white, but beneath it, everything had shifted. A cracked tooth had mended a broken system. Evening settled over the Hanazono Dental Clinic like a gentle exhale. The teal sign cast its familiar glow across a street that no longer felt cold. Through the wide window, Dr. Asuka was visible. Not as the dentist who once pointed toward the door, but as one who now leaned in, listening, a patient's hand in hers. Down the sidewalk, 2 figures walked in, no hurry. Kazuya's hand held Nanase's, her head tilted toward his shoulder as they spoke in the easy way of people who had built something lasting.
Do you think she's happy now? Asuka.
I think she's learning that dignity isn't about being right. It's about being willing to start over.
Sounds like someone I know.
He laughed, a sound the clinic had never heard in its old walls, and pulled her a little closer. Inside, Asuka glanced out the window at that exact moment. She didn't smile, she simply nodded, a quiet acknowledgement of a debt paid in full. The dental group would open 12 more clinics the following year, and every intake form would be missing the same box. But the real change had already happened, in a waiting room where a man once stood with a fractured molar, and in the quiet courage of those who chose to fix a system instead of just a tooth.